Welcome to Miss Scarlett. Subscribe and don't miss out on Patreon. Have fun! Under the rustling autumn leaves, Coulter hesitated, the falling foliage around him mirroring his own internal turmoil. The glass doors of Serenity Springs Spa loomed before him, a challenge he couldn't back down from, not after his wager with his sister. With a reluctant grimace, he confronted his own reflection in the glass, taking a deep breath of the cool, crisp air. His hand trembled slightly as he reached for the brass handle, adorned with intricate engravings that seemed to taunt his nerves. With a swift motion, he pushed through, entering a world far removed from his own. Warmth enveloped Coulter, a stark contrast to the chill outside, and a soothing aroma of lavender greeted his senses. Peaceful melodies wafted through the air, almost indiscernible, and the gentle sound of trickling water filled the elegant lobby. As he took his first steps forward, a well-presented receptionist, her presence as composed as the atmosphere, offered him a professional smile. Coulter began, his voice hoarse from the cold. Yeah. It should be under Ada. The receptionist tapped at her computer, then nodded. Yes, the full-day package. Right this way, please. She led him to a changing room, handing him a fluffy pink robe and matching slippers. You can leave your belongings in the locker. The spa attendant will be with you shortly. Coulter changed quickly, feeling ridiculous in the soft silk robe. He caught a glimpse of himself in the mirror and sighed. His auburn hair, usually tucked under a baseball cap, stuck out at odd angles. He ran a hand through it, trying to tame the unruly strands. A soft knock at the door made him jump. Ada, are you ready? He took a deep breath. Coming! The spa attendant, a petite woman with a gentle smile, greeted him warmly. Hello, Ada. I'm Melody, and I'll be taking care of you today. Let's start with a relaxing facial, shall we? Coulter nodded, not trusting himself to speak. Melody led him to a dimly lit room with a plush reclining chair. As he settled in, she began cleansing his face with cool, fragrant creams. So, Ada, what brings you to our spa today? Melody asked, her fingers working in soothing circles. Coulter panicked for a moment before remembering his cover story. Oh, just needed a day to unwind. Melody chuckled. Don't we all? Well, you've come to the right place. By the time we're done, you'll feel like a new woman. If only she knew, Coulter thought. As Melody applied a cool mask to his face, Coulter found himself relaxing despite his initial discomfort. The gentle pressure of her fingers and the soothing scents lulled him into a state of calm. Now, we'll let that mask work its magic for about 15 minutes, Melody said. Just close your eyes and relax. Coulter did as instructed, surprised at how easily he slipped into a meditative state. When Melody returned to remove the mask, he felt a twinge of disappointment. Your skin looks wonderful already, she beamed. Now, let's move on to your manicure. In the nail salon, Coulter sat at a small table across from a cheerful woman named Bree. She took his hands in hers, tisking softly. Oh, honey, these cuticles need some serious TLC, she said, reaching for her tools. Don't worry, we'll have your hands looking gorgeous in no time. Coulter watched in fascination as Bree worked, filing his nails into perfect ovals and pushing back his cuticles with expert precision. When she asked what color he wanted, he froze. Whatever you think is best, he stammered. Bree's eyes lit up. Ooh, I love when clients let me choose. How about a nice coral? It'll complement your skin tone beautifully. Before Coulter could protest, Bree was applying the vibrant polish to his nails. He had to admit, it did look pretty good. As the polish dried under a small UV lamp, Bree chatted away about the latest celebrity gossip. Coulter found himself nodding along, even chuckling at some of the more outrageous stories. "There we go, all done," Bree exclaimed, admiring her handiwork. "What do you think?" Coulter flexed his fingers, watching the light play off the glossy coral surfaces. "They look amazing," he admitted, surprised by his own enthusiasm. Bree beamed. "I knew you'd love it! Now, off you go to your next treatment." The next few hours passed in a blur of pampering. Coulter experienced a full-body sugar scrub that left his skin tingling and soft, followed by a deep tissue massage that worked out knots he didn't even know he had. By the time he was led to the hair salon, he felt like he was floating on a cloud. The hairstylist, a tall man with impeccably styled hair, introduced himself as Marco. "So, Ada, what are we doing with your lovely auburn locks today?" Coulter blinked, realizing he hadn't thought this far ahead. "I'm open to suggestions?" Marco's eyes sparkled. "Darling, those are the magic words."
"Let's give you a whole new look, shall we?"
Before Coulter could second-guess himself, Marco was washing his hair, his strong fingers massaging Coulter's scalp. The warm water and fragrant shampoo lulled him into a state of blissful relaxation. Back in the styling chair, Marco worked his magic, snipping and shaping Coulter's hair with practiced ease. "You have such beautiful natural color," Marco commented.
"We'll just enhance it with some subtle highlights."
Coulter watched in the mirror as his hair transformed. Marco dried and styled it into soft waves that framed his face beautifully. He barely recognized himself.
"What do you think?"
Marco asked, spinning the chair so Coulter could see the back.
"It's incredible,"
Coulter breathed, running his fingers through the silky strands. Marco grinned.
"Honey, you're going to turn heads. Now, let's get you over to makeup."
The makeup artist, a woman with vibrant blue hair named Zoe, studied Coulter's face intently. "You have gorgeous bone structure," she mused. "We'll do a natural look to enhance your features." Coulter sat still as Zoe worked, applying various creams, powders, and colors to his face. He was amazed at the transformation taking place before his eyes. His skin looked flawless, his eyes more defined, and his lips fuller. "There," Zoe said, stepping back to admire her work. "Take a look." Coulter gazed at his reflection, stunned. He looked beautiful. There was no other word for it. His features, softened by Zoe's expert application, looked delicate and feminine. "Wow," he whispered. Zoe smiled. "You look stunning, Ada. Now, I believe it's time for your final surprise." Coulter was led to a dressing room where a garment bag hung on the wall. With trembling fingers, he unzipped it to reveal a shimmering blue cocktail dress and a pair of matching heels. He hesitated for a moment, then slipped the dress over his head. The silk felt cool and smooth against his skin. He stepped into the heels, wobbling slightly before finding his balance. Taking a deep breath, Coulter turned to face the full-length mirror. The person staring back at him was a stranger, a beautiful woman with flowing auburn hair, flawless makeup, and a figure-hugging blue dress that accentuated curves he didn't know he had. A knock at the door startled him.
"Ada, are you ready for your photo shoot?"
Photo shoot? Coulter thought, panic rising in his chest. That wasn't part of the deal. But as he looked at his reflection again, a strange calm washed over him. He smoothed down the dress and took a deep breath.
Coming,
he called, his voice higher than usual. The photography studio was set up in a sun-filled room with various backdrops and props. The photographer, a bubbly woman named Jess, greeted him enthusiastically. Ada, you look absolutely gorgeous. That dress is perfect on you. Now, let's capture this moment, shall we? For the next hour, Coulter posed and smiled, following Jess's directions. To his surprise, he found himself enjoying the experience. There was something liberating about embracing this new persona, about feeling beautiful and confident in a way he never had before. As the shoot wrapped up, Jess showed him some of the photos on her camera screen. Coulter's breath caught in his throat. The woman in the pictures was radiant, her smile genuine and her posture confident.
These are amazing,
he said softly. Jess beamed. You're a natural, Ada. I'll have these edited and sent to you within the week. As Coulter made his way back to the changing room, he found himself reluctant to take off the dress and heels. He lingered in front of the mirror, turning this way and that, admiring how the fabric clung to his body. A gentle knock interrupted his reverie. Ada, your sister is here to pick you up. Coulter's heart raced. His sister. The bet. Reality came crashing back, and for a moment, he considered hiding in the changing room forever. But then, he squared his shoulders, lifted his chin, and opened the door. His sister stood in the lobby, her back to him as she flipped through a magazine. Coulter cleared his throat, and she turned. Her jaw dropped. Coulter? He gave a little twirl, the dress swishing around his legs.
What do you think? Did I win the bet?
His sister stared for a long moment, then burst out laughing. Oh my God, you look amazing! I can't believe you actually went through with it. Coulter grinned, surprised by how good it felt to hear her approval. Well, a bet's a bet, and honestly, it wasn't so bad. As they walked out of the spa, his sister linked her arm through his. So, tell me everything. And maybe, can we make this a regular sister bonding day? Coulter looked at her, then back at his reflection in the spa's glass doors. The woman looking back at him smiled, her auburn hair gleaming in the afternoon sun.
You know what?
He said, a new lightness in his step.
I think I'd like that.
As they drove home, Coulter found himself opening up to his sister in a way he never had before. He told her about the initial discomfort that had gradually given way to curiosity, then enjoyment. He described the pampering treatments, the way the spa staff had made him feel valued and beautiful.
It was like, for the first time, I could see myself through someone else's eyes,
he explained, gesturing with his coral-painted nails.
And I liked what I saw.
His sister glanced at him, a soft smile on her face. I'm glad you had a good time. You know, I never expected you to go through with it. I thought you'd back out at the last minute. Coulter laughed.
Believe me, I considered it. But once I was there, I don't know, something just clicked.
They pulled up to Coulter's apartment, and his sister put the car in park. So, what happens now? Coulter looked down at the blue dress, smoothing a hand over the silky fabric.
I'm not sure,
he admitted. But I think I want to explore this more. His sister reached over and squeezed his hand.
Whatever you decide, I'm here for you. And hey, if you ever want to raid my closet, you know where to find me." Coulter grinned. "Thanks, sis. I might just take you up on that."
As he walked up to his apartment, heels clicking on the pavement, Coulter felt a mix of emotions swirling inside him. Excitement, nervousness, curiosity, and a strange sense of rightness, as if he'd discovered a part of himself that had been hidden away for years. Inside his apartment, Coulter kicked off the heels with a sigh of relief. As comfortable as he felt in this new persona, his feet were killing him. He padded to the bathroom, intending to wash off the makeup and return to his normal self. But as he stood in front of the mirror, he hesitated. The person looking back at him was so different from the Coulter he was used to seeing. This version of himself had a softness, a glow that he'd never noticed before. He touched his cheek gently, marveling at the smooth texture left by the facial treatments. Instead of reaching for the makeup remover, Coulter found himself opening his phone's camera. He snapped a few selfies, trying out different angles and expressions. Looking at the photos, he felt a surge of confidence. He looked good, really good. On impulse, he opened his social media app and posted one of the photos. No caption, no explanation, just the image of himself, transformed and radiant. Within minutes, notifications started popping up. Friends and acquaintances commenting on how amazing he looked, asking where he'd gotten his makeup done, complimenting the dress. Coulter's heart raced as he read through the responses, a mix of nervousness and exhilaration coursing through him. One comment stood out from the rest. It was from his best friend, Tom. "Dude, call me ASAP. We need to talk." Coulter's stomach fluttered with anxiety. He and Tom had been friends since college, but they'd never discussed anything like this. What would Tom think? Would this change their friendship? With trembling fingers, Coulter dialed Tom's number. It rang twice before Tom picked up. "Coulter? Man, what's going on? That picture..." Coulter took a deep breath. "It's a long story. Remember that bet I made with my sister?" As Coulter recounted the day's events, Tom listened silently. When Coulter finished, there was a long pause. "So, how do you feel about all this?" Tom finally asked. Coulter sank onto his couch, absently running his fingers through his styled hair. "Honestly, I'm not sure. It felt good, really good, but it's also scary and confusing." Tom's voice was gentle when he replied. "Hey, it's okay to be unsure. This is a big thing to process. But Coulter, you're my best friend. Whatever you decide, whatever this means for you, I've got your back." Tears pricked at Coulter's eyes, smudging the carefully applied mascara. "Thanks, man. That means a lot." They talked for a while longer, Tom asking questions and Coulter doing his best to answer. By the time they hung up, Coulter felt lighter, as if a weight he hadn't known he was carrying had been lifted. He looked at the clock, surprised to see how late it had gotten. Despite the emotional roller coaster of the day, he didn't feel tired. Instead, there was an energy thrumming through him, a desire to explore this new side of himself further. Coulter went to his closet, pushing past the rows of t-shirts and jeans. In the back, hidden behind winter coats, was a box he'd almost forgotten about. It contained clothes his ex-girlfriend had left behind years ago, things he'd meant to donate but never got around to. He pulled out the box, setting it on his bed. Inside were dresses, skirts, and blouses in various colors and styles. Coulter ran his hands over the fabrics, marveling at their softness. Before he could second-guess himself, He stripped off the blue cocktail dress and began trying on the clothes from the box. Some were too small, others not quite his style, but a few felt just right. He settled on a simple black skirt and a soft pink sweater. The outfit was casual but feminine, perfect for a quiet night at home. He twirled in front of the mirror, watching the skirt flare out around his legs. As he admired his reflection, a thought occurred to him. He went to his dresser and pulled out a pair of scissors. With a deep breath, he gathered his driver's license and credit cards. One by one, he carefully cut away his old name. Coulter became Ada, the transformation on paper matching the one he felt inside. He knew there would be paperwork to file, explanations to give, and challenges to face. But for now, in this moment, Ada felt more like herself than she ever had before. She picked up her phone, opening a new text message to her sister. "Hey sis, wanna go shopping tomorrow? I think I need a new wardrobe." The response came almost immediately. "Absolutely! Pick you up at 10. Can't wait to help my new sister find her style." Ada smiled, a warmth spreading through her chest. This was just the beginning of a new chapter in her life, and for the first time in a long time, she couldn't wait to see what the future held. As the night wore on, Ada found herself unable to sleep. Her mind raced with thoughts of the day's events, the unexpected turn her life had taken. She paced her apartment, the swish of the skirt against her legs, a constant reminder of her transformation. Eventually, she settled on the couch with a cup of chamomile tea, her laptop open in front of her. She began researching, reading articles and personal stories from others who had gone through similar experiences. The more she read, the more things began to make sense. Feelings she'd pushed aside for years, discomforts she'd never been able to articulate. As the first rays of dawn began to peek through her curtains, Ada made a decision. She opened her email and composed a message to her boss, requesting a week off for personal reasons. She knew she needed time to process everything, to figure out how to move forward in both her personal and professional life. The reply came just as she was finally drifting off to sleep. Her time off was approved, no questions asked. Ada fell asleep with a smile on her face, dreaming of the possibilities that lay ahead. She woke to the sound of her phone buzzing. It was her sister, reminding her of their shopping plans. Ada jumped out of bed, a mixture of excitement and nervousness fluttering in her stomach. In the bathroom, she hesitated for a moment before reaching for her sister's old makeup bag. She did her best to recreate the look Zoe had given her yesterday, surprised at how much she remembered. The result wasn't quite as polished, but it made her feel put together and confident. She chose a simple sundress from the box of her ex's clothes, pairing it with a light cardigan. The outfit felt right, like it had been waiting in that box all this time, just for her. When her sister arrived, she gave Ada an appraising look. "You did your own makeup? Not bad, sis. We'll add some beauty supplies to our shopping list." As they drove to the mall, Ada's sister filled her in on the plan. "I've made appointments at a few boutiques that specialize in helping people find their style. They're very inclusive and discreet, and don't worry about the cost. This is my treat. Consider it making up for all the birthdays and Christmases I should have been buying you dresses and jewelry." Ada felt a lump form in her throat. "Thank you," she said softly. "For everything. For being so supportive." Her sister reached over and squeezed her hand. That's what sisters are for. The day passed in a whirlwind of fitting rooms, fabric swatches, and style consultations. Ada tried on more clothes than she could count, gradually developing a sense of what she liked and what suited her body type. By late afternoon, they had assembled a basic wardrobe, a mix of professional attire for work, casual outfits for everyday wear, and a few dressier pieces for special occasions. They also picked up makeup, skincare products, and accessories. As they loaded the bags into the car, Ada felt a mix of exhaustion and exhilaration. "I can't believe how much we got done in one day," she marveled. Her sister grinned. "Welcome to the world of power shopping, sis. Now, how about we grab dinner? I know a great little bistro nearby." Over a meal of grilled salmon and white wine, Ada and her sister talked more openly than they ever had before. Ada shared her fears and hopes for the future, while her sister offered support and advice. "You know," her sister said as they were finishing their dessert, "I always wanted a sister. I just never expected to get one quite like this." Ada laughed, feeling lighter than she had in years. "Life's full of surprises, I guess." As they said goodnight, Ada's sister hugged her tightly. "I'm proud of you," she whispered. "And I'm here for you, every step of the way." Back in her apartment, surrounded by shopping bags, Ada felt a sense of peace settle over her. She knew the road ahead wouldn't be easy. There would be difficult conversations, adjustments to make, possibly even some losses along the way. But for the first time in her life, she felt like she was truly herself. As she hung up her new clothes and arranged her makeup on the bathroom counter, she caught sight of herself in the mirror. The person looking back at her was still new, still a bit unfamiliar, but there was a light in her eyes, a confidence in her posture that had never been there before. Ada smiled at her reflection, feeling a surge of hope for the future. She picked up her phone and opened her social media app. With steady fingers, she typed out a post. "Some of you may have noticed some changes recently. I'm embarking on a new chapter in my life. From now on, I'll be going by Ada. I'm still me, just more me than I've ever been before. Thank you to everyone who's supported me so far. Here's to new beginnings." She attached a photo of herself from the day's shopping trip, smiling and radiant in a new outfit. Then, before she could second-guess herself, she hit post. As likes and supportive comments began to pour in, Ada felt a weight lift from her shoulders. This was just the beginning, but she was ready for whatever came next. She was Ada now, and she was finally, truly herself.
Thanks for watching, my girlies. Be sure to check out Patreon for more.